Welcome to Match Week 1.
Hey.
I'm Adam Gold. That's Jay Kumar. It's going to seem like a Homer Liverpool podcast, but if you can get me your fight song with Led Zeppelin singing it, then we'll use it.
All
so, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. Welcome to Match Week 1.
Indeed.
It's finally here. I've been looking forward to Match Week 1 since Match Week 38.
Me too. But at least we had a lot of the summer was a nice reprieve with plenty of football going on.
Oh my gosh. It really just whet my appetite for everything that we're about to experience over the next 38 weeks. Euros were great. I've said this before. It's my favorite of the international tournaments. I enjoy that more than the World Cup. Although the World Cup's getting bigger.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I enjoyed Copa, even though the United States completely spit the bit. Thank you, Tim Weah. Thank you, Greg Berhalter. Honestly, just getting out of the group would have been, to me, that was the baseline. Success would have been winning a match in the knockout round like Canada did. Way to go, Canada. Way to go, Jesse Marsh. But it's otherwise a great summer, and man, the women at the Olympics were phenomenal.
I know. Emma Hayes coming back,
and go Chelsea.
Yeah,
maybe this is the connection with Mauricio Pochettino.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but Todd Bowley's holding it up because he won't make a payment to let him sign the contract. So he's got like one more payment to make from firing him, and he can't sign the contract till he gets that payment. So,
are you joking?
No, I saw this reported yesterday by someone on ESPN. So we'll see.
Is Todd Bowley not a patriotic American?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Whatever.
Well, he's a capitalist, so we'll see.
Yeah, we don't need him today.
Yeah.
Right. we'll need him. The international window isn't until like the second week in September, and who knows. All right, we're gonna try to do this in 30 minutes.
Let's do it.
So we're gonna go through our top 8, which should all be European positions, or at least have a chance to be European position. The 8th might not. Then we'll talk about the 3 going down. Then we're going to do our preseason team of the year, like the ACC does in football, right?
That's right.
All right. Let's shoot. You go first, sir.
Do you want to go 8-1, and then or 1-8?
However, whatever order you want to do it in.
All right. So my top 8 in no particular order. No, I'm just kidding.
Alphabetically.
Alphabetically. No, I think this is the hardest top 8, top 10 I think I've seen in the Premier League. I do think there are tiers in which Arsenal and City are in one tier, and then there's a bunch of really good teams behind them that could finish anywhere from 4th to 12th.
I think what you're getting at there is correct. I think there's only 2 challengers for the title, barring massive injuries and a court hearing. I think there's a clear number 3, but I could be wrong, and clearly you don't believe so because I've seen your picks. But I do think 4 through 10, 11, 12 could be a complete.
But they're all going to be good.
Yeah,
and that 4 through 10, 12 group, because they're so talented and because they're so much better than they've been in a long time, are going to make 1 and 2's life really hard. And could hang around similar to how Liverpool hung around for a long time last year. So with that, I have Villa in 8th. I think the prospect of Champions League football being added to their docket and not really growing their squad enough to manage the extra fixtures is going to make it pretty challenging. I love what West Ham have done this summer. Yep. They have got a really, really nice squad. And if they can avoid injuries, I think they've got a really good shot at finishing back in the European places. So I have them at 7th. I've got Chelsea in 6th. And this is where it gets hard. 3 through 6 could go. And you could convince me that they would go in a different order tomorrow, and I would believe you. But it's hard to know how they're going to pull all of the pieces together. On paper, they should be a shoe-in top 4 team. They've got enough talent across the pitch. They've got more goalies than I think most teams have midfielders. So I think with that, they should be able to figure out some combination of players that work. After that, I've got Liverpool in 5th. I think that they could finish anywhere from 3rd to 5th. I don't think they can go further than 5th. I think they'll get that Champions League spot, that extra position due to the coefficient this year. But I do think a new manager trying to get his ideas embedded into a squad that was so devoted and gave so much to their last manager. I can see them having a little bit of a slower start than they typically have had under Klopp. Doesn't mean Slot's not going to be a great manager for them, but I do think it'll take them a little bit of time to get going. So I've got them in 5th. Spurs in 4th. I think they are a good, solid team. They have probably the least variability among that group between United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Tottenham. I think their floor is 4th. Their ceiling is 4th. And so I see them landing there. And then I'm going on a limb here, and I think United take a big step forward and finish in 3rd. I like what they've done on the back end with their signings. I think that De Ligt is a smart move and at a good value for them and covers a big a void. And then it allows them to move Martinez to left back, which was when Arsenal were scouting him and looking at him. That was where we profiled him playing, similar to how we have Ben White, who is a center back, playing at right back. I think that that's going to give them a lot more. He's going to stay healthier, which will keep him on the pitch. And he is probably their second best player after Lissandro or after Bruno Fernandes right now. And so getting him on the field more just makes United better. I think they have talent. It seems like Rashford is finding some sort of form again, which makes him extremely dangerous. And then I like what they've done in the midfield with Mainu and Fernandes is a top 5 player in the league. And then
now, drum roll.
Our top 2, I've got City finishing in 2nd. I just think you've seen the progression with Arsenal over the last 3 years, second. And I think this year they get over the hump and finish 1st for the first time since the Invincibles.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both picked Arsenal last year. So I'll go in reverse order too, and then I want to have a kind of a free flowing conversation about this. I have West Ham 8. I agree. I think they have done a remarkable job. I think Füllkrug in from Germany will be dynamite for them. It takes the pressure off of Mikel Antonio, probably sends him to the bench, to be honest. But I think, I could see at the beginning of the season staying with Mikel Antonio, but Füllkrug was a goal chance machine at the Euros, and he's so good in front of the goal. I have United 7th. I am not quite as bullish on them. I agree. If Lenny Euro were healthy going into the season, then I would be a little bit more bullish. Euro's incredibly talented, but he is 18. So playing in the Premier League, not going to be easy on an 18-year-old body at center back. He's already starting from a deficit with an injury. So by the time he gets fully up to speed, I expect him to be significantly better, like in March, April, maybe February, March, April, even, right after he comes back. They're in Europe, thanks to winning the FA Cup, which I think will put a little bit of a strain. They're not great in the midfield. That's my biggest problem with United is that after their top 3 right now, they're so thin. They are. I mean, I think Casemiro is going to play a lot. It looks like he's in great shape. Casemiro, Mainu, and Fernandes will be their 3 in the midfield, but they just don't have a lot of options beyond that. And they continue to try to sell McTominay, who's really good off the bench. I've got, I was reading somebody else's list. I have Chelsea 6th. I fear I convinced you to put Chelsea sixth.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea's second team could finish maybe top half of the Premier League, but I don't know how much better their first team is than their second team. They have so many good players. I don't know how many great players they have beyond one of them. That's my biggest problem. And I think they are, which is good because they clearly don't have a ton of drop off when they do go to the bench or if they suffer injuries. I think they have an incredibly high floor, even though they have a new manager. And I watched them a little bit in the preseason. It wasn't great, but I don't think that mattered all that much. But I still think that their major issue is going to be goal prevention. They're not awesome between the sticks. They're not awesome at center back. They're okay, but I don't think they're awesome. I think they're going to yield a lot of goals. I think this is a year that Newcastle gets back into Europe, not having to play any European football. And if they add Mark Gahey, they are even in better shape. But I think they'll be much better this year than they were last year because they just got decimated by injuries and too many matches. I think they could play as little as 40 matches this year. Like if they happen to lose in the first round of the FA Cup and the League Cup, they're only playing Premier League matches. And I think they've got a good squad, certainly at the top of it. I have Tottenham for all the same reasons. I love Solanke playing up top, which puts Son back on the left-hand side. Maybe Madison will stay healthy, but I don't think he will.
I don't think you can count on him.
But I love what the addition of Archie Gray. And I just think I think their two outside backs showed a lot of dynamic ability last year in O'Doughy and Pedro Porro. Van de Ven was one of the best young center backs in the league. I like Tottenham, and I think they'll be better in year two in Ange Ball. This is where you and I kind of separate. I think that Liverpool is a clear number 3. I think they've got so many good players that to me, they would have to suffer like similar injuries to last year to not finish third. Because I think the gap between Liverpool and the next best team behind them is similar to what it was last year. There were 7 points or 9 points between Liverpool and City at the top. There was a gap of 14 to the team below them. I don't think anybody else got that much better. And I don't really think Liverpool got worse.
I don't either. But I do think they flew a little too close to the sun last year, and they got extremely hot, and their variability, their performances didn't match. Their results didn't match the performance. And so
100%.
I just think there's a regression to the mean from a points perspective. That's why I think that.
But they have 82, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I actually think that's when you look at their season as a whole, because the end of their season was so terrible that to me that was the regression to the mean. Mohamed Salah, when he was not even close to the same player. He wasn't even a good player after AFCON. So
and where I think we're literally splitting hairs here is that I don't think Liverpool is bad. I just don't think they're a clear-cut number 3. I think they're in a pool of a few teams that it's all going to depend on variability, and it's going to depend on injuries. Do Liverpool have the best midfield options available of any of the teams in their cohort? Yes, absolutely. I think between Tottenham, United, and Liverpool have the best starting 11, and they have the best depth. But where I do see them struggling relative to the other two teams is a brand new manager, and they still haven't addressed the biggest gap in their squad. They still don't have a number 6,
right?
And they don't have anyone that can really sit in front of an aging Van Dijk, who, while still elite, his age is catching up to him to a certain degree. And you just have to ask the question, is he going to be able to stay fit for 38 games plus an FA Cup season? Plus, because the one thing about a brand new manager is he's going to try to win a trophy this year. And so there isn't going to be a competition that he takes off that potentially, and last year they had the same issue with Klopp going out and wanting a trophy for him, which they got. But I just don't think that that pressure, that workload, and that squad is going to be able to hang on for the whole year while also learning to tweak their system. Well, it's a minor tweak. He still plays an attacking style, still plays aggressive press. There's still some changes, and
I think it's quite different.
Do those changes, do they make them more defensively sound? If they do, then yeah, you're right. They're going to finish third, and it's going to be fine. If it's more of the same and those exposed midfield gaps continue to show up, I don't know why they are going to be a clear-cut number 3 and not in that pod with United and Liverpool, United and Spurs.
I could be worried about anybody's injury when you get over 30 in a sport like soccer. So, but Van Dijk played basically as much as you could possibly play, not William Saliba levels, who I believe played every minute for Arsenal last year, which is just staggering.
Yep.
And I think I told you this. My friend Ryan O'Hanlon from ESPN did a top 50 Premier League player, and without reading it, I tried to do my own. And I had Saliba as the second best player in the league. I think he is the best center back in the world. He's also 23, 24?
Yeah, 22.
It's ridiculous.
23.
So, I think, to me, he's the gold standard, but I still think that Virgil is the second best center back in the world.
Yeah.
And I thought he played last year at an incredibly high level. I don't anticipate a huge drop off. And I also think that we're going to get a contract worked out with Virgil. All right, let me get to the top 2 real quick. I have City 2 and Arsenal 1, and this is where I want to get this. We'll spend a couple of minutes on this before we get to the bottom, who's going down. You and I have talked about this all last year.
Yep.
I thought Arsenal was the best team. They just didn't win the league.
Yeah.
And we can split hairs about where it went, where they let it go. Right. I believe it was the match against City in the set, late on in the season, where it looked to me like they played to not lose as opposed to try to go out and win it.
Where I'll disagree. I think that's a City did not go and win at Arsenal. City did not go and win at Liverpool. City did not go and win away. So I think that's not the narrative. I think where City did not do the thing that Arsenal did that cost them the league, the one game, is give up a lead to a 10-man Fulham and ending up dropping 2 points, which cost them the league. We could find those things anywhere. Yeah, but City don't. But that's the difference between City and any other team in the world is they do not drop points when they're not supposed to. When they are in that groove, it'll take them. You'll see it. They'll have their early season where they're building and everyone's asking questions, and then they hit a point probably around November where it's like the machine is fully operational, and then you don't see them. And even when they're in those phases, they're behind. They never lose when they're ahead. Once they're ahead, it's game over. And that ruthlessness is what Arsenal need if they are going to compete with the T1000 Terminator over here.
You and I are clearly never going to agree on this. I thought they played that match for a 0-0 draw.
Sure. I don't disagree with you there.
And that was the problem for me, because when you're the better team, and Arsenal, to me, was the better team. All the metrics say Arsenal was better than City last year. When you're the better team, then you just go play the game.
Sure. I don't disagree.
That's where I think they let it go, because honestly, even at that point, Arsenal was playing maybe some of their best football of the year.
Yeah. No, I was
that was a game that disappointed me.
Yeah, I was disappointed as well. I'm not going to disagree with you there.
I'm sick of City winning, Jay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was disappointed as well with their performance at the Etihad. I just don't think that's what cost them the league when you look at the reverse fixture, and Arsenal got 4 points off of City and City got 1 point off of Arsenal. So to me, it wasn't about the two matchups head to head. It was about the other matchups where Arsenal did not do what they were supposed to. in particular, that little stretch after Christmas where they dropped. They got 1 point out of 9.
Arsenal was terrible in that stretch.
Yeah. And that was it.
Yeah.
That's the league. And that's what it is. It's these small variability periods for
wasn't the loss to Villa?
City. Yeah. So he lost to Villa. They ended up losing from ahead or to Fulham, 10-man Fulham. And that's unacceptable. And that's where you can't have those types of performances.
You and I are never going to agree on that, which is fine. All right, who's going down?
I've got going down, unfortunately, my beloved Tractor Boys from Ipswich. Have a soft spot in my heart for them, but they're going down. Forest, I think, is finally gonna catch up to them. Yeah. And Southampton, I just don't think they have enough horses to maintain. One team I would keep an eye on that's not on that list is Bournemouth. I really like what they've done, but not until they replace Solanke. I don't know if they have the goals to stay up. And so if they can get that move replaced, then I think they'll be fine. If not, they're going to be in a relegation battle with the other 3 teams I just mentioned.
Yeah, I think Wolverhampton is also going to be in that battle to stay up. I mean, look, I know you could say it's hard to replace Pedro Neto, but he's always injured. So they've had a lot of experience replacing him, but they've sort of been playing with fire over the last several years, as has Everton. But I think Everton is going to be better. But I think Wolves will stay up. I agree about Bournemouth. That is a huge loss to not have Dominic Solanke. But you and I had the same 3 going down. I think Forest has stayed up for a few years. I think it's going to be a tough road for them. Ipswich and Southampton also going down. A couple of the teams that I thought were going to struggle. Well, I'll just go one. I thought Brentford might struggle this year. I also assumed that Ivan Toney was going to go. He hasn't gone anywhere just yet. Although there's still a couple of weeks left in the window. But I love the addition of Fabio Carvalho from Liverpool. I think he's going to have an impact on them positively, because I think he'll come in, probably play the number 10, and I think they'll be pretty good. All right, we've got a few more minutes left. Let's do your preseason 11, Jay Kumar.
Why don't we go player by player? I'll say my goalie, you say yours, and we'll work our way through. 4-3-3, 3 midfielders, 3 attackers, 4 defenders. All right.
And as a just before we start this, I kept them where they play, so I don't have 2 right wingers. Just because I need 2 wingers, which is either bad for Bukayo Saka or Mo Salah, depending on who you're rooting for. All right. Who's your keeper?
So for me, my keeper right now, I've got Jordan Pickford. I think he is going to do a job for Everton and really solidify them in mid-table. But I think there's a lot of good keepers in the league this year, but I like him.
Not only is there a lot of good keepers, their skill sets are so varied that it really depends. Like David Raya is going to have the most clean sheets in the league.
Yep.
I promise. Right?
Again, yeah.
Right. I don't think he's the best keeper in the league. He faced the fewest shots.
He's doing his job, and he does a good job in possession. But he's great. I don't think he's going to be team of the season keeper.
Right. I still think the best keeper in the league, based on, because my son's a keeper, I look at shot stop. Emmy. I'll go Emmy Martinez as the best keeper in the Prem. I think he will keep Villa viable, even though I don't have Villa finishing in the top 8.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, just so our beloved listeners understand, team of the season to me is not the best player in that position, but it's who is having the best season. Because if we're talking about best player, it's Alisson is the best keeper in the world right now. He still is, and the likelihood is he'll probably end up in team of the season if
Liverpool has a good year.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if they finish 3rd. So all right, left back, who do you got?
Jasko Gvardiol.
All right.
I thought he might have been, after Rodri, might have been City's best player in the last 2 months of the year.
I mean, if they're playing that hybrid 3 center back system, then yeah, I mean, he's a really, really strong pick. I'm gonna hold my nose and go with Destiny Udogie here. I just really, really like him going forward, and I thought he added. He was Tottenham's best player for me.
I have him on my fantasy team.
Nice.
Of course, we can change out the fantasy team. You pick a new team each week, basically. Yeah. All right, give me your two center backs.
All right, I have got Matthew De Ligt coming into the league.
Whoa!
Yeah. I just think that I think a few things. One, I have United finishing third, which means their defense has to improve. If their defense improves enough to be third, then one of those two center backs have to have been excellent this year for them. And so of the options they have, with Euro being hurt, De Ligt makes the most sense to be the guy, because I don't really see Maguire or Martinez really being that player. I see Martinez playing left back for them, which I think is a smart move. So my first center back is Matthew De Ligt, and then the second center back is the no-brainer, William Saliba.
All right. I've got Christian Romero, and I'm kidding. I mean, I think he'll have a good year, actually.
He'll be fine.
How many red cards will he get? Saliba and Virgil,
not a bad
center
pick.
back. I went straight chalk.
Yeah.
There. All right. I'll give you my right back. And I think there's a fair amount of competition at this position based
probably
on
one of the deepest positions in the league.
Won't be Kieran Trippier.
Yeah.
I still don't understand Gareth Southgate. Take a guy who had a terrible year and you play him out of position and yet keep him on the field all tournament. Yeah. What are we doing? What are we doing? I've got Trent. I think Trent's going to play at right back, and he's going to be dynamic. And I know there are a lot of good players at that spot, but to me, Trent's still one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many good right backs. You have Kyle Walker, Diego Dallo. I even like Malin Gusto at Chelsea. Like, I think
I do too.
There's
Reece James is hurt already.
Yeah. Reece James, you name it. But this is where our true colors show. You going with the Liverpool guy, and I'm going with the guy who makes Bukayo Saka, and I'm going Ben White.
He was actually my second choice there.
Yeah, and to be fair, Trent was my second choice at right back. So I think they're phenomenal. They bring different things to the table, but both are extremely dynamic in their own right.
Ben White has that orange thing going on. I'm not into the orange thing. I think you agree with the orange thing to me, but I'm not into the orange thing. I don't know what that is. All right. Again, I did it by, a true six. And the best player in the league, the best player in the world is Rodri.
Yep.
And that's where that's who I have there.
I will agree there. So who are your eights?
I have
both of them.
I did 6, 8, and 10.
Okay.
My 8 is Declan Rice.
Okay. So
plays the 8, right? I got that right.
Yeah, he plays that left 8, attacking left 8. So we play. I actually did similar. I kept kind of tried to keep the midfield in positions, but I kept them as attacking 8s, twin attacking 8s. So I've got Martin Odegaard and Bruno Fernandes as my left and right attacking 8s.
I'm a big fan of the 10 position.
Yeah.
And this was a late change for me because I did have Martin Odegaard written down. But I went Cole Palmer.
Okay.
Who, my gosh, what an unbelievable explosion he had last year.
Yeah.
I have him at the 10. Even though I have, I guess I have Palmer in my top 50. I had Palmer, I think, right behind Bukayo Saka at number 8. I had Saka at 7, and Odegaard, I think, at like 9 or 10. But my gosh, tomorrow I could say Odegaard over Palmer and not really complain on it. All right, give me your left wing.
My left wing, I actually I have Ollie Watkins coming off the left. I've got I'll just give you my 3 forwards, just because I don't think it's quite a full lineup. But I've got Holland through the middle, Ollie Watkins, and Bukayo Saka. I think the 3 of them are just going to have excellent years, and it's going to be hard. I mean, there were so many players I was looking at. You got Phil Foden. I was thinking about Cole Palmer there because you could argue he's a forward.
Yeah.
There's just a lot. Alexander Isak, I think, is going to have a monster year.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much talent and depth in the forward ranks in the Premier League.
I went Eberici Eze
Nice.
at off the left, Holland through the middle, and Mo Salah. We did it again.
Yeah.
Salah on the right, but again, man, I think Saka will have a better year. But I think Mo is going to have close to a 30-goal year, and I think he's going to have an incredible season, and then maybe go off to Saudi Arabia. I don't know what's going to happen. Mo, Trent, Virgil, all are out of contract after this season. As we close, do you have a young player you expect to have a breakthrough year?
It's a good question.
I have two.
All right, you go with your two first, and then I'll give me a second. I mentioned
it before. I think Fabio Carvalho will have a great year for Brentford. And I also love Amad Diallo from Manchester United. I think he is a dynamite player. I don't know where he's going to get on the field.
Sure.
Because I think Garnacho is going to play off the right, and Rashford's going to play off the left. And then, United will figure it out at the 9, whether it's Sancho, when Højlund comes back, Xerxes. But Diallo is an incredible player, I think.
Yeah. There's so many good players in the league right now. Two that kind of jump off the page to me. One, I'll give you a name of a guy who probably won't play a ton, but made his full team debut. The guy, the Arsenal Academy is raving about, saying he's the best midfielder to come through the academy, period.
Right.
And it's Ethan Nwaneri. And I think
saw him in the preseason. Liked him.
He's going to be a first team player. He's not going out on loan. I think he's going to see the field, and I think Opta had him as the best emerging talent in the Premier League. And then the other player, he's not really a new name, but somebody who I think is going to really grab the middle of the park by.
I know where you're going, and I like it.
Adam Wharton.
Okay.
I think that what he's going to do for Crystal Palace, what he started to do last year, is revolutionary. And I would love, I think a big club would be smart to go ahead and drop the 50, 60 million and get him in their team today, because he's going to be Declan Rice price in a year.
No question about it. I thought you were going to go Emile Smith-Rowe at Fulham, and I would have been here for it.
But I can't consider him a young player, having watched him for so long.
That's true. I just haven't.
But he's 24 as well, so he's kind of entering into early prime.
Gotcha.
So I to me, a young player is 23, can play for the U23s. So 23 or younger is kind of where I'm thinking here.
I have a T-shirt that's older than.
Yeah. So, but those are some of the guys I was thinking about.
All right, that's Jay Kumar. I'm Adam Gold. We're going to try to do this as often as possible. Probably be every few weeks. Yep. There is life. There's a new gunner in the world. There is. I heard him at the very beginning.
Yep.
It's fine. It's good.
He's asleep.
He is now. So, but he won't be coming up this weekend.
Absolutely.
So good luck to Gunners. We want to get take City off the perch, and who knows, maybe 115 charges will. I actually don't think that they'll do anything in terms of points. I think there might be a fine, but we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm not necessarily rooting for that. City's wonderful to watch, and I mean, they've got great players and the best manager in the world. So
yeah.
That's the best combination of winning.
And that's something we didn't talk about, is what are they going to do this year? Because this is Pep's last year.
Probably.
And so does he go to England and be the national team manager? Does he take a sabbatical, or does he go manage another club somewhere in the world?
See, that's where I thought the U.S. could have waited. Maybe that's what Todd Bowley's doing. Todd Bowley's saying, I'm not going to pay Poch his last paycheck because maybe I'll wait long enough and Pep will be available and he'll go coach the U.S. team. He loves America.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I just don't think Pep wants to win. And I think just objectively, the U.S. cannot yet.
No, we're not.
And it's no knock on him, but England could. And if he's the guy who takes England to a World Cup on top of everything else on his CV, I think his ego would really appreciate that.
All right, Jay Kumar, I appreciate your time, sir. We'll do this again as soon as we can. Best to everyone in the Kumar household.
All right, thank you.
I am Adam Gold, and we will see everybody next time. Appreciate it.
Sounds good.